What's up guys, T2W here and welcome back to a new video. In this video, I'm gonna explain and answer two questions which were frequently asked in the comments and in Discord. First, I will explain the current state of MMOs in general and why Korean or Asian MMOs get released first in Russia, China and other Asian countries before they finally get on release in EU and A. And then I'm gonna talk about Pay2Progress and Pay2Win a little bit. You know, there's issues already from games like Lost Ark, Ascent Infinite Realm, or the newly announced game or MMOARPG Blue Protocol. Links to those subreddits of the MMOs which I just mentioned can be found down below in the description. Okay, now let's start with the current state of MMOs in general. First of all, MMOARPGs are not gamers' favorite genre anymore. Since a few years, FPS, MOBAs and Battle Royale games have a bigger player base than MMOARPGs. Those games are not grindy like MMOARPGs or expect from you to invest a lot of time to see the results. If you compare the player base nowadays with the player base 10 years ago, we have a lot more people which a few of us call the casual gamers. Those are people who have a lot less time to spend in games. So for casual and people with less time to play, games like MOBAs, FPS and Battle Royales are the ideal games. This is one of the main reasons why MMOARPGs have smaller player base than games like Fortnite, Overwatch, League of Legends and other similar games. Now it should be clear why we have a lot less subscription-based MMOs and more free-to-play but pay-to-progress or even pay-to-win games compared to years ago. It is because a lot more gamers with less time to play but still want to be good as the hardcore gamers are willing to invest money to close the gap. The fact that the MMO genre is in general grindy makes it less attractive for players with limited time to play. And I know a lot of old school hardcore gamers, like some of us, don't want to accept the fact that at least 50% of the players in MMOs are casual players. And as a company or developer, publisher, it would be a stupid move to ignore those players by not implementing pay-to-progress mechanics nowadays. So, the time and the mindset of gamers have changed over the time, which is the major reason why companies have abandoned the subscription-based route for their games. People are willing to spend more money into free-to-play games, and if we are honest, even if we complain so much, at the end we still use their cash shop and buy stuff. If we were a game-related company, we would do the same. I want to make sure or clear here that I don't want to make it look like that the decisions they made as a company are good, but it is definitely also our fault why MMOARPGs are not the same like it was years ago. Damn, this is just the start of the video and I can already see the hate or negative comments in the video description below. But it's better to tell the truth than sugarcoat stuff or spread obvious lies to please the viewers, I guess. Okay, now let's talk about why Korean games take so long to get released in EU and A and why they release it first for Russia, China or other Asian countries. A few of the major factors for that are laws, player base and player mindset. So first we have the laws, and to make it short, the laws in EU and A are a lot more riskier for gaming companies, publishers compared to the laws in Asian countries. In case anything goes wrong, it is more likely to lose money or getting sued by a large amount of consumers in EU and A. Next, we have the player base. And to be honest, I don't know why people assume just because or based on hype that EU or NA would have a bigger player base than Asian countries. The truth is there are a lot more players in Korea, Japan or other Asian countries than in EU and A. This gets even more amplified by the player mindset. In most of the Asian countries, playing a game and buying stuff from cash shop is widely welcomed. Game and gamers in general are more accepted by the society in Asia than in a lot of EU and A countries. And truth be told, we EU and A players complain about a lot of shit, especially in MMOs. Because compared to other genres, MMOs try to please a bigger range of players with different kind of preferences like PvP, PvE, exploring, life skill or housing. So because of that, MMOs won't be able to please everyone. You will see that in every patch note for an MMO, there will be always a faction of players with a certain preference complaining that the stuff which they like didn't get enough attention. So if you don't like as a player what the game company does in EU and NA, we can just refund in most cases. And that, plus the laws, player base and mindset are one of the major reasons, as explained earlier, which makes releasing games in EU and NA a lot more riskier compared to the Asian countries. And again, as a company publisher, we would also go for the countries first which are less risky and can give us more profit. So having more rights as a EU and NA consumer is a double-edged sword. Okay, the next thing which I want to talk about is the difference between pay to win and pay to progress. And I'm gonna make it short and simplify a few stuff here. First of all, you should know MMOs have an early game, which is about leveling, a mid game, which is about gearing up and progress in a constant rate, and last but not least, the end game, in which the min-maxing starts and where you have to invest a lot more time to progress gear-wise. Pay to progress focuses on early and mid game. Most of the item will save you time in early mid game and makes it easier to skip contents which you don't prefer and focus more time on content which you like. This is going to be especially helpful for people with limited playtime per day. So pay to progress is about shortening the time in early and mid game. Compared to that, pay to win is more focused on end game. It will either give you items or gear which you can only obtain by paying money, or it will increase the stats of endgame items or gear which can't be obtained without paying money. Now that I have explained the basics, you should be able to understand the following statement. A good MMO will push the endgame further and further with releasing more content. For example, I've never played a game with so many content updates and quality of life changes in weekly intervals like Lost Ark, and most of the Lost Ark players will agree on this. So if they don't implement stuff to skip progress or catch-up mechanics to make it easier to get to the end game, the new players or second characters will take months to reach end game, especially in game like Lost Ark where they add new end game in weekly intervals. From the perspective of a decent or hardcore gamer who should already be at the end game once the game gets a new end game, the content won't care about the catch-up mechanics or would be happy because they can level or gear up a second char faster. Casual players will have the chance to close the gap between them and the hardcore players because of the catch-up mechanics or the skips. If they don't implement those stuff and keep adding more content every week, people will stop playing before reaching the end game because of the mid game will consume too much time. So each end game content which gets added will make usually the old end game to the new mid game. So imagine you want to start playing the game 8 months after release and your friends are at the end game. Without those catch-up mechanics, you will never be able to get to the end game, especially if they keep adding more and more end game contents. But Percy, why don't they make all those stuff for free? I know that the current solution is not the ideal solution for us gamers, but at the end, it is a company and to stay alive, it needs to make profit. So which option do they have? Again, I'm going to simplify it. The best one for us would be only cosmetics and or subscription based, but that belongs to the past and is less likely to happen again. And don't even start to compare an MMOARPG with a co-op game like Path of Exile and the cash shop of those games. It doesn't make sense. Different kind of genres requires different kind of cash shop, and only because a cash shop system works in a different genre doesn't mean that it's gonna work for MMOARPG too. The next and kind of okayish option is to pay to progress. Nothing in the cash shop is mandatory but can save you time. None of those things will give you better item or cash shop exclusive items. Last but not least, the worst option is the full pay to win path, which I described earlier in this video. So that is why I'm fine with pay to progress path and that they earn their money by doing so and not by picking the pay to win path. I'm pretty sure that there are players out there with the opinion that pay to progress is pay to win, which is fine. But you should be aware that you won't be happy with any MMOs nowadays with that mindset or opinion. Interesting fun fact, the old school MMOs, which a lot of you guys call fair, like World of Warcraft. If you think about it, you could buy gold from gold sellers and buy gear and gear boosting stuff from the in-game auction house, but that was not called pay to progress or pay to win. But if you skip the gold sellers and buy auction house currency in-game, which will give the money to the developers instead to the gold sellers, then it is suddenly pay to win or pay to progress. I don't get it. Maybe some of you guys can explain me why that's the case. Okay, so that is everything which I wanted to explain or talk about in this video, and I know there will be guys with different opinion, but that's fine. Keep in mind that there are quite a few stuff in this video which are based on facts and less on opinion, and I hope you can think about everything I mentioned in this video again by keeping the current state of MMOs, the mindset of players, the point of view of the companies, and the options which we have and they as the gaming company have, and which of those are more realistic. So if you have any questions or want to share your opinion with me, feel free to write in the comments down below or join our Discord. And until the next video, bye bye, your Tea Party Percy.